And now our fourth story out front. New developments in the Petraeus scandal investigation. We have just learned that Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, the ranking member on the Senate Judiciary Committee, has sent a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder and to FBI Director Robert Mueller, pressing for details about the role of their departments in the investigation. Among his questions, why wasn't the president informed of the investigation, which began in the summer, before last week? Today, Attorney General Eric Holder defended his action.
We felt very secure in the knowledge that a national security threat did not exist that warranted the sharing of that information with the White House or with the Hill. But when we got to a point in the investigation, it was very late in the investigation after a very critical interview occurred on the Friday before we made that disclosure. When we got to that point where we thought it was appropriate to share the information, we did so.
But did they do so soon enough? Democratic Representative Luis Gutierrez joins us now, on the Intelligence Committee, and Republican Representative Jason Chaffetz. He is on the Oversight Committee. Okay, great to see both of you. We appreciate it. Let me just start with you, Representative Gutierrez. Are you satisfied with Attorney General Holder's explanation as to why he did not tell the president earlier about the Petraeus affair?
Look, they have a responsibility if they find a national security threat to inform 2 members of the Senate and 2 members of the House on the Intelligence Committees. They did so when they finished their investigation. This is the FBI, and let me just be clear, this is really not a partisan issue, given that FBI Director Mueller is been very well established to have worked with Republican administrations in the past, number one. Number two, we're talking about the professionalism of the FBI, career men and women who put their lives at risk each and every day to go out there and to keep us safe. And according to the Attorney General, and I have no information that would contradict this, they gave the information at the appropriate moment in the investigation. Look, the FBI is not supposed to disclose information unless they believe there's a national security threat. I have no reason to believe they didn't do it until the appropriate moment.
Representative Chaffetz, do you agree with that? I mean, especially given that it was only this week that the FBI actually went to Ms. Broadwell's home and removed, as you can see here on our screen, boxes of information, some of which we've been told is classified.
No, I would totally disagree. Look, General Petraeus was the head of the CIA. He wasn't running the Fish and Wildlife Department. There is a duty and obligation under the law, as Luis Gutierrez said, to inform the ranking and chairman of House and Senate Intelligence. That is to deal with every investigation, not the conclusion of the investigation, but at the beginning of the investigation. And would national security be compromised? Perhaps it would. I think that would go to the level of the president. It should have definitely gone to those 4 people who are charged with that duty as the chairman and ranking member of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees. That should have been done at the beginning. And the other thing that will be interesting is, as a CIA officer, you are supposed to report anything that has to do with a, quote, bonds of affection. And if there was some sort of bonds of affection that was not reported, that is, again, something that we would know very quickly and very early in the information. But I want the President of the United States to make these decisions, not the Attorney General. That's not who we elected. President Obama should have had that information, and to withhold it from him is wrong.
Well, Representative Gutierrez, you know, just to follow up on this point about the FBI searching Paula Broadwell's home this week, how could the FBI have known, how could Eric Holder have known that there was no problem, no national security threat when they hadn't even looked through that information?
Right. Well, as he said, the FBI and the Justice Department informed the appropriate officials. I would just like to say the following. Look, one of the things that we do have on the Intelligence Committee, of which I'm a member, is that we have a great working relationship between Democrats and Republicans. And so I'm going to withhold any further opinion or comment on this issue as to whether or not they were informed appropriately and in a timely manner until Mr. Rogers, Congressman Rogers, and the ranking Republican, ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee tell me otherwise. But I've got to tell you, I've never heard my leader on the Intelligence Committee or Mr. Rogers as of yet make those kinds of opinion. And I'm not saying they won't, but I'm going to withhold judgment because you know what? They're the people that should have been informed.
Representative Chaffetz, what do you have to say to that? Is it too early to pass judgment, to be critical?
I think this is one of the big questions. I think what I am prepared to say now, and I think is very comfortable, is I want the President of the United States to know the moment somebody of such national security importance, the CIA director, there's something worth investigating. I want the President to know that. To withhold that information over months, I mean, what, the President can't keep a secret? Of course he can. But he needs to know that. He's the Commander-in-Chief. He's the one that makes those types of decisions. To, quote-unquote, protect the President or do anything like that would just be fundamentally wrong. So it just bothers me that the President didn't know.
And I understand my friend's concern. But look, Congressman Rubensberger and the committee chairman Rogers, I think you should have them on your program and ask them whether or not they were informed in appropriate and a timely fashion. Because guess what? Neither Congressman Chaffetz or I were in the line of order to be informed about this issue. So I'm going to withhold judgment until the investigation is completed. But let's be clear. These are career FBI agents, men and women with stellar careers up to this point, that are doing their duty and carrying it out. And so it's really not about Eric Holder. And remember, they have to be informed when there is a specific instance that a national security threat exists. They can't be calling up the President and everybody else every time there's a complaint or some issue to follow up with on Secretary Petraeus or whoever running the CIA.
But my understanding of that is they're supposed to be informed when there's an investigation. And I think certainly if you look at the public comments, Senator Feinstein, who is in a position, is in that role, she has publicly complained about this. So that's why I think it's more than justifiable to say, why weren't they informed? And, oh, it's just a coincidence. It happened, you know, a couple days after the election. There's some of us that believe that may be more than coincidence.
And you know what? Maybe I just put a little more stock and credibility in the men and women at the FBI and those in law enforcement that I believe are here to uphold the law and that are career professionals. They're not Republicans or Democrats, they're Americans. And they felt that they were fulfilling their responsibility and did inform at the appropriate moment when they felt that they needed to.
Eric Holder,
it's the
of course,
Attorney
is
General. Yeah,
Attorney
it's the
General
Attorney
is different.
General has the duty. Yeah, it's the Attorney General's responsibility.
He has the duty, but let's be clear, Mr. Chaffetz. Congressman Chaffetz, my friend, let's be clear. We have nobody in the FBI complaining except somebody who went to a Republican leader to say, I'm unhappy with the state of this investigation going outside.
You have Senator Feinstein publicly saying that this was a concern. That's why I think it's legitimate. It does bother me.
It's a very big difference between a concern. Look,
doesn't it bother you that the President didn't know? Why would they not tell the President?
Can I tell you something? I cannot obviously comment on an ongoing investigation. Maybe you can't, I can't. I'm a member of the Intelligence Committee, so I can't share information. But from all of the information that I've gathered that is unclassified and that I've been able to look at, I got to tell you, I don't have a problem with the sequence of events and when people were informed.
Well, we will see.
I got a problem with it.
All right, and there are a lot of questions still to be answered to determine what really happened and whether it should have in the way that it did. Thanks to both of you. We appreciate your time. And still to come, Israel's retaliation against terrorists could cause a war. Some are asking. Benjamin Netanyahu's